Good to go? Okay. Good to see everybody tonight. Welcome you to the February 25 City Council meeting. The reason we are so late this month is sitting here in front of you, and I apologize for that, but I had some conflicts, and then the weather played with us a little bit, but primarily it was conflicts. So some things going on that were affecting Watertown that I needed to be in my county job. So anyway, we'll try to get back on schedule next month, and so you don't have to be looking around and asking people when are they meeting this month. And I'll apologize to everybody sitting around me here for being difficult about that. I thought we moved our Board of Education meeting to last night, and I thought they were going to vote on the purchase of the property over for the middle school, but they did not. So that's the reason I had to be there. Turned out I didn't really have to be there. But okay, if you'll bow with me, we'll have a word of prayer and then we'll get on along. Our Father in heaven, we're thankful again for another day of life, and that you woke us up this morning and gave us the opportunity to enjoy this beautiful day. We're thankful to live in this community. We're thankful to live in a free country. We realize there are a lot of strife and wars and rumors of wars all over this world, and we know the Bible talks about there always will be. But it would be nice if we could have peace. Lord, we pray that you'll be with those that are here and those that serve this community, and that we'll make decisions that will be pleasing to you. And forgive us our sins. Amen. Okay, got a set of minutes from January 23. Hope I got a pen. They look all right to y'all?
Yes, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from January.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I want to make some other comments. Hello. That's not for us. All right. Some positive things that just occurred to me last night and this morning while I was at the Board of Education meeting. Director of Schools Luttrell told me that our girls had won last night and beat Jackson County and Monterey. And he told me, I thought he said that night, and I confirmed it this morning, that they won their 20th game. And I've got some notes here somewhere, so I don't. The last time, well, first of all, this is the first district tournament game we have won since 2016, 2017. The last time we won 20 games was 2015 and 2016. It's only the 6th time in our school's history since I've been playing girls basketball that we've won 20 games. The first year was 72 to 73, and the last year, of course, is this year, and then 73, 74, and then we went about 15 years before it happened again. My point in that is to say, not only has this been in the news the last few days, but we have had young people, I hesitate to call them kids, though they're not kids, young adults. We have had a young lady, as I understand it, that finished 5th in the state in wrestling.
Correct.
Am I right? If I say something wrong, y'all jump in here and get me before I get in trouble with some of these mamas and daddies. Yeah. We had some young men who went to the state tournament and placed very well. I think one may have even placed 5th, perhaps.
I think 5th and 7th.
Okay, 5th and 7th.
I think so.
We have had, my whole point in talking about this is, I think we have an excellent school system here. And we hear about the athletics because that's the thing that gets everybody's attention. And certainly gets mine. But also on Facebook the last 2 or 3 weeks we've seen where we had FFA teams that have placed in their competition in cattle judging, soil judging, whatever it is they do. I'm sorry I don't know more about it. I know cows got 4 legs, but that's about the extent for me. But I'm just so proud of these kids and academically and athletically, and they're on the front lines of representing our community. And they do a good job, and you just don't hear about them being a problem when they go somewhere. They don't, as far as I know, they don't get any scraps in the games or outside the games, and they're just good people. And academically, we can compete with anybody around and I'm just really proud of all our schools, from Little Lights preschool right on up to our senior high school. So, yeah, Jeff?
Can I show you something?
Yeah.
It's on the same thing. I know.
That's all right.
I don't come and I'm here and then all of a sudden I just, but I thought I'd show you this because it's all in that,
All right.
that same.
Yeah, I think I recognize that young lady, and she's standing there with the governor, Miss Allen.
Yeah. So
Well, good for her.
she's working in the
Internship.
her internship with the leader Lambert with the leader
Yeah.
of the house.
Yeah, well, good.
To go along with
Good.
that,
I can tell you're not a proud papa.
absolutely.
No, it's all right. We'll grant you that. And but just like that example right there, our kids. Allie played what? Volleyball at Trevecca for 4 years. 3 years. We've had a young man here a few years ago that won first place in track and field. Was it long jump? Was that Vontae in the long jump?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Triple jump?
where you take the pole and jump.
well, that's the pole vault.
Okay, he didn't win them all, did he? All these things, he won something, he's first place. And then, Vontae, if I'm not mistaken, just signed with a pro team to play in this new spring league. He's playing for somebody. And, every time they say on TV or radio or whatever, Watertown, Tennessee, that's publicity you can't buy. For your school, for your people, for your churches, for everything we do here. So I'm really proud of these kids. And when Jeff told me this last night, of course, he's kind of like Jeff Tunks. Jeff Luttrell's got a reason to be proud because his daughter's the basketball coach, and I understand that, and I'm proud for both of them because Brenna has done a good job.
Yeah,
And
this is her first year as a
Her
coach
first
too, I
year.
do believe, and she is another Watertown product. I was gonna bring that up.
She is, and then we've got our middle school teams are feeding these high school teams with good players. So it's good for us, and I'm proud of them, and I've taken some time here tonight, but I felt like we needed to, so I'll get off my soapbox at least for the time being. Y'all know me, I'm allowed to go off on something else before it's over with. But, okay, public business. Anybody want to address us? I started to say the boss is coming, but the second boss.
Right, exactly. Chris Ferrari with Hamilton Hardware here in town. I wanted to bring up a subject, two sides to it, and talk about parking in downtown. Now, we're the new folks, so it's kind of a short period of time of observation, but as the first side of it would be, for us at the hardware store, our customer base is kind of in and out, in and out, in and out. A lot of people come there for a couple minutes and leave. Some of the other businesses in town, the restaurants, they have folks come for an hour. The event center right beside us is completely different. They have folks come for a lot of hours. And they're growing and we're growing and there's more people downtown and those are all good things. It's presenting itself a problem, and I'm using the hardware store as an example. Because of our location, there's a single spot there. In the last 3 weeks, someone came for an event at the event center, came in the morning, unloaded their car, locked it, and walked away. And for 6 hours, the entire day we were open, there wasn't a spot available right there. Now, nothing wrong with that. It's a public parking, and they're certainly allowed to do that. But as we grow, that kind of thing is a problem for us and for our customers. And so, as using that as kind of as an example, I'd like to suggest that maybe we start to think about some kind of designated parking spaces. And this isn't just for the hardware store, this is just an example. The drugstore has folks in and out, bank has folks in and out. Some of the accounting firms have people come for 30 minutes or an hour, things like that. So there's different types of businesses throughout the square. But if we can maybe think about and develop some kind of designation where there's a loading zone or a 15-minute parking or something like that to kind of help and accommodate all the business types that are in the square, I think that would be helpful. I'm not saying or suggesting that that one in front of the hardware store has to be the 15-minute for our benefit. I'm just saying if there was a 15-minute close, that would be helpful, because it could turn into where all of the spots around us are tied up for hours, and that becomes a problem for our business type. And as we grow, we've seen a lot of growth already in the first year, and as the new restaurant opens and as the other places grow, parking spaces become a premium. And I'm thinking that maybe we need to look at, designating different types of things throughout the city. Because I know that happens at some of the other places too. You get, the in and outs and people take up those spaces for a long period of time. Again, nobody's doing anything wrong necessarily, but if we can do things to help all of the businesses and the entire customer base, that could be helpful. The second half of that is kind of just from a business owner standpoint. I think it'd be good if maybe the city and the chamber together could lead kind of a conversation with business owners, and look at and suggest to Cam. Again, we can't necessarily tell people don't park here, but as business owners, if I'm taking up a space that could be a customer's, or if I'm parking in front of the next store and taking up a space that could be a customer, maybe there's ways that all of the business owners could look to work towards the outskirts of the available parking, in the kind of little downtown area. Example for us is we currently park on the side of our building down at the end. Well, as the summer's coming, we're going to start having some additional employees. We're talking with some other folks to actually park even further away, because as we get busier for the summer, Randolph's new restaurant opens up, those 4 or 5 spaces inside of our building are going to become very important for customers. And we don't want to take those up, 2 or 3 of those up, just for ourselves to be able to park close. Seems a little inconvenient, for us to have to walk further, but as business owners, I would think that would, be something we would think about. And that part of the issue, I think, would be a good opportunity for the city and the chamber to kind of get together and have a good discussion with business owners, and how can we kind of lead this to kind of work at this parking issue. I know there's discussion and, pie in the sky, let's tear down this building and put up a big parking lot, and that's all wonderful, but whether that happens or not is down the road and lots of dollars down the road. But we need to start thinking about some things in the short term that can kind of help all of the business types and just give some direction to the town. If there's a person parked out in front of our building right now and I go out and say, hey, would you mind moving? They can just tell me that, no, I'm just going to park here. And they're right, that's fine. If there's a 15-minute parking spot there and I say, could you please move? And they say no, now I can call Mr. Hinderlight and have it taken care of and get some support from the city to help our customers. So anyway, if you'd all consider that, I think that'd be something good we could work towards. And if there's any kind of discussion needed, I'm happy to participate and go from there. All right? Thank you.
Be glad to convene
appreciate
that
it.
meeting,
Thank you.
talk about that. And these are nice problems to have.
Oh, absolutely. It's just part of growing.
Yeah, but I mean, they gotta be dealt with. I don't mean to belittle them, but they're nice problems to have. Okay. One thing I was gonna ask the police about, and kind of get y'all's thoughts on it too. I noticed on the report, and I happen to be personally familiar with 2 out of the 3, but that we gave 3 parking tickets this time for parking the wrong way. We got those signs. And it carries a pretty hefty little fine and court costs on it. And my thought on it was, is that the message we want to send to people coming in here to spend money with our businesses? Do we want them to come in and feed their family and spend $60 in the restaurant, come out and find out they got a $107 ticket on their window. That's, in my mind, that's sending the wrong message. That's something I think we can work through and perhaps do warning tickets. And I'm not going to interfere, or try to interfere at all with the police work. But if we're going to be family friendly to people coming into town, we need to.
Yeah, and I think enforcement isn't necessarily, kicking them in jail right away, but just being able to enforce that. And to that point, I will tell you that the spot there in front of the hardware store, because it's kind of that dogleg intersection, and people tend to pull in there, it can get pretty dangerous.
Yep.
Because of cars coming both ways and
And across the street.
And across the street and into so it's nice to see some enforcement of that.
Yeah.
But I agree.
I think we can, and I'll talk to the chief about that too. I think we need to take a look at that and perhaps give a warning ticket or two before, we get accused here when we give speeding tickets or whatever that the city is trying to raise money. No, we're not. We don't depend on speeding tickets to fund our government. But I don't want the word to get out that, hey, you don't want to go to Watertown shop, they'll give you a ticket. So
I think part of the tickets isn't one of those spots, like not really a spot, it's just marked off, but isn't that where?
There's a hydrant.
There's a hydrant right there in
that's
front
a
of
different
it.
I think that was some of that,
But
was
the,
that though.
but the two I heard from, they parked the wrong way,
Okay.
opposed to the sign.
Yeah.
One of them was very sweet, one of them was a boy I was raised with, and he unloaded on me pretty good, so I told him I'd look into it.
Some of those signs are down that says
Yeah.
they collect parking, so they're not up. And of course, everybody that's local knows.
Yep, but I think, and putting a group together to talk about that, I think it'd be a good idea.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to talk to us? John, we got anybody out in radio land or TV land or whatever it is wants to talk?
About 6 viewers, but no comments at the moment.
Nobody wants, okay. All right, then we'll go on with some of our reports. I think the fire department's up first tonight, and I know Chief Hahn's not here, but he's got a good man coming, I can tell.
Good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
All right, doing well. So report's pretty standard. We had total of 58 calls for January 26 in the city, 32 in the county. We averaged 1.87 calls per day, 53 of those being paged by 911 and 5 of those by Wilson EMA. We did see an increase from January of 2024, an increase of 21 calls from 2024 to January of 2025. And then just a couple of notes down at the bottom of the report. So our reserve engine was involved in an accident while parked working a motor vehicle accident on Statesville Road. With the snow and the ice that we had another vehicle that slid into it. Very, very minor damage, but the report has been taken. Of course, the photos attached there on your report. And then Chief Hahn wanted to bring up the surplus Suburban that we have. So he's done some research, and the Blue Book value for this is around $1,500. And he's wanting to place that on Gov Deals and set a reserve price for that. And I'm assuming that would be him and Chief Decker discussing what that reserve price should be. And then if that's not met, he would like to do a local auction.
Okay, so you're asking us to approve?
To place on Gov Deals,
Gov Deals.
and see if we can,
I thought we'd already approved putting their own Gov Deals.
I know we declared it surplus, I don't know, did
And we
we?
gave him permission to go ahead and do what he needed to do.
okay, he was just wanting to confirm that y'all were
We
aligned
can
with us.
revote again just to make sure, but we had
Yeah,
already said, we
Okay.
trusted that he would go ahead and make that call.
Okay.
Okay. You want us to give you another motion?
No, if y'all have already approved that, then I'll pass that along to him and let him move forward.
Tell him, see if he can get 5,000 or 6,000 for it.
We'll do it. Any questions for the fire department? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dale, I think you're up next with the sewer report.
We have had some issues with the pump station on Cornwell Avenue in the last couple of days. We did pull the pumps out, and one of the pumps are burned up, and I contacted Wascon at a Crossville to give us some prices on a new pump. I haven't got those prices yet, but that's something that we will need to be getting. Other than that, I don't have a lot for you.
We do need to replace that pump though. Well, you got two in there and just one.
There's two,
running out.
yeah, there's two for redundancy, and one of them's burned up, and so, yeah.
The other one's, I bet, running
It's
pretty
running.
much all the time.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have a lot high flow on that pump station, but it's, they're there for redundancy. That way if one goes out, then there's, but we're only on one now, so we don't have a redundancy.
I'd suggest a motion that we, purchase a replacement pump on an emergency basis and let Dale find us the best price that we can get.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Will that work for what you need?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, well, I think that's everything I have for you.
Yeah. Dale, quick question for you. I know we have multiple pumps around the city.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all the same as far as,
No, they're not. They're different, the sizes, pumps, and, depending on what flow the systems are, but yeah, they're pretty much all different. I don't think any of them are the same.
okay,
And some of them are single phase and some of them are three phase, and, they're different horsepowers and stuff, so yeah, they're all different.
all right, thank you.
Other questions, comments? You may want to hang around. We're going to hear from the big boss of the sewer project here.
All right.
Thanks, Dale. Next, though, we got to do the police report. We got a police officer here. I know Chief Hinterlight told me this morning he couldn't be here because of some things that moved around on him, so. You got a report in there, and if you have any questions, you know how he is. He's available. Just give him a call or a text or an email or whatever else is out there, the way we communicate now. Okay, we'll go on to some old business, and Brian, I'll come back to you. Oh, yeah, Jeff.
Can I go to the park, sir?
Yeah? Is it
Just what's going on.
Oh, okay. You want me to start putting you on here? Okay.
Y'all have a big night tonight, don't you?
Yes,
Thought so.
what I was coming to I mentioned this earlier this weekend. I probably should come by more often, but it just, it's, not that anybody else isn't busy. But, anyway, just want to let y'all know what was going on, give you an update on everything. Basketball is finishing this Saturday. 10 and 11 will be our games in the elementary and the high school championship games. And, we will have an award ceremony at 12 o'clock Saturday at the big gym at the middle school. Would love for y'all to come by. We can recognize you and thank y'all in front of all these people that come and participate. It's a pretty good event. We will have a coaches game following that. If y'all would like to get out and play, you're more than welcome to come out and participate in the coaches game. So, anyway,
Don't wait on me to get.
there will be cupcakes though. There will be cupcakes.
I will participate in that.
There will be cupcakes, but it's a lot of fun. The coaches game's a lot of fun. We had about 253 basketball players from 3-year-olds. Well, I think I even had a 2-year-old. I think Alex was 2. So we from 2 to 5th grade. So we had a pretty good league. We incorporated Tucker's into our league this year. That gave us 38 teams playing basketball, and we played games there and here. We went there. That was part of my bargain to get them to come, that we would come there and try to make the transition and them learning as simple as possible. So it all worked. I haven't had any problems. I went over there Saturday to finish up, and the coach over there was very congratulatory and thanked us and appreciated everything. So I think it turned out well. So basketball ends Saturday. Baseball, softball started last night with drafts. We had 79 3- and 4-year-olds in the old gym, and it was quite a thing. But anyway, we got them all on teams. We got 6 teams, about 13 to a team, and right now they're drafting 5- and 6-year-olds, and we've got over 80 5- and 6-year-olds, and these are boys and girls, but over 5. So we'll probably have 7 teams in that age group, and then we do the older kids Thursday and Friday. Jonathan Smith will be running the baseball and softball this year. I've introduced him to the mayor and Jolene. Let me mention his wife too, because I think she'll do a lot of the paperwork and the stuff, and she's going to be doing the concession stand. And she's ran a deli before, so I think she's pretty knowledgeable in that. And she's been doing concession stand at the elementary school all year for basketball. I guess trying to get her feet wet, get back in the game. So anyway, she'll be doing that. He's been here for, I don't know, he's got a daughter that went to school with Haley, so I think he's got a daughter that's 23, and he has a 3-year-old. And so he's going to be here a while, and I thought that would be a good time to throw him in, or he volunteered. He came to me. I didn't twist his arm or anything. So he came and volunteered, so thought it'd be great since he had a girl that was 3 that getting back in it. So he'll be running the leagues. We have these really smart looking shirts this year for the league. They're $20 if anybody in there, for a fundraiser for the ball league. For equipment and stuff that's needed. So if you'd like to order one, you can see me or Jonathan if you know him. Let's see, practice started, and we'll start practice Monday. We have a coaches meeting Sunday, and we'll start practices on Monday. And as y'all probably know, I've got about 7 or 8 fields, or what we call a field, that we're utilizing around town to practice, and it's helped tremendously because, as you know, when it rains, there's a guy here that will not let us get near the field, and so you can use these other places to practice on. We will have the batting. We've got 3 batting cages, and we should have them up. If anybody saw the rock in the middle of the parking lot over here today, I'm sorry, but he dumped it exactly where I said not to, but it was right in the middle of the way, but I think Bobby came and got it out of the way today. But anyway, so we're going to have those. They'll have some turf put down, and we'll have those up and going for ball. Football will start football and cheerleading will start sign-ups in March. We have to start those really early because of uniforms for cheerleaders and for equipment for football. We have turned in equipment. I mentioned this a couple of years ago. We rotate our equipment for football through Rydell. Rydell puts their stamp of approval, and that buys us the good graces of the liability transferring to them of the equipment. So it protects us as far as the league goes, and they do all the helmets. So that is all back. It's all gone to Rydell for servicing. And then we will start soccer in the 1st of April, and we will start playing soccer as soon as baseball season's over. So like the middle to the last week of May, we'll start soccer. So that's kind of the schedule for the rest of the year.
You know when opening day for the baseball leagues will be?
April, we're the first week in April. That's what we're planning on, the first Saturday. Yeah, we want to do opening day if we can. If it's not raining.
Yeah.
So, which very possibly will be.
We'll hope April showers bring May flowers.
Exactly. So.
I have 2 things. First, I want to tell you thank you for all you do. You are one of those behind the scenes people that nobody just knows what all Jeff Tunch does for this community, and I don't think you get praised enough. So I really appreciate what you do. The second thing too,
my family helps.
Oh, I know. Like,
yes.
and they're troopers too, because you've been
Haley's up there
dragging them
now.
around since they were little.
Yeah.
The other thing is thank you for including Tuckers, because I don't know if a lot of our Watertown people realize that Tuckers now feeds into the high school. So if we can incorporate them, they are a small community that doesn't have the funds and the support to participate in Little League stuff. So you going out there and inviting them over is only helping our high school program with what you were talking about earlier, so.
Their,
I
their,
appreciate that.
yeah, their Little League field is also under new management. Not that I wasn't
I've
working
heard
with the
that.
old management, but we had been in talks, but it's under new, and I have reached out to them to do something similar.
Yeah.
So they kind of already had their thing, and by the time I got in touch with who it was, so I have reached out. So if we don't get it this year, maybe we'll get it next year. We'll see what happens.
That'd be a good time.
Yeah, see, because we need the numbers too, the numbers all the way around are, last year we had 351, playing, ball, and this year, as of today, we're at like 275. Now, we'll have a lot that didn't see the announcements, and when kids go to school, they all tell them, and they call, and we get them on teams, but it doesn't help us selecting teams this week, so. And I was trying to do the teams this week because I wanted to get them in before fall break, because I wanted to get a month of practice, and anyway, so,
Well, thank you.
thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Everybody here appreciates
Yeah.
it. And tell Miss Amy and Haley and Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, Haley's up there going.
She's our
got
new
it. She's
behind
getting
the
it.
scenes.
He's helping John work through it.
She knows the drill, doesn't she? All right, well, we'll go to old business. That's a good report. One of those recreational programs is something we can all be proud of. Our kids can choose to go somewhere else if they want to, but they don't have to. They can play right here. All right, now I'll get to the big boss. Come on up and tell us about the sewer project.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, he also had some kids that came through.
Well, yes, I want to thank Jeff too. Thank you, Mayor and the council members, for letting me talk, but I also have two 6-year-old twins that play basketball, and I got to see Jeff about on a regular basis. And I'm thankful for everything he did for the ball team, and what he did for me. That's helping us out as well. Like again, thanks for letting me talk to you about what's going on in Commerce. This month, we've had 18 days out of 25 so far that was really not no good for nothing. February is not a good month for any construction worker, and I think last Friday it got to be 50 or 60 degrees, but it was 25 degrees that morning. When it's that cold, you're not going to start equipment or even try to get anything. you're doing good to even have anybody show up. But it is slow going on Commerce. Like I told Mike, we're coming over that hill. It was 18 foot deep solid rock. It's no blasting job. It's pretty tough going. All the houses on the east side, we are reconnecting to the new sewer line in Commerce. And that was per contract. What wasn't per contract is stubbing out clean out assemblies or services for the houses on the west side. And that's something we're going to take in our contract and do it, but that's also adding more rock to beat out, more that we have to do to accommodate future tie-ins for the west side of the Commerce Road. That's a one-lane road, pretty tough. I brought a trencher in to where it's about taking the whole road up, but we are making progress with it. But I can cut down the center road all day, but the services going off the side, it's going out the east side, they got to be as deep as the main is, because those houses sit off the road, they sit so low. So we have to maintain adequate fall to get back to the main for the houses to tie onto. That was expected. It was not nothing there wasn't expected. It's just slow going. Also, the sub guys is doing the relining of the laterals. They're down to 25 left. I think most of them on Main Street. Once they're done and out of the way, they've had the same month as we've had. Really not good. When it's rained and they've got a lot of infiltration, they can't lateral the services until the flow gets down. It's a process when you got to work with Mother Nature and do what we do underground. You don't see water on the ground, but water's always in the ground. After them guys gets out, we'll have the manhole crew come in, and they're about 2 weeks out on coming in and rehabbing all the manholes. So you still got another subcontractor coming in behind these guys And this is all in the areas that we're not digging up. These are the areas that, you'll have the clean out selling in. But hopefully we got all those fixed. So hopefully we got all the sidewalks fixed that we had damaged. Let's see what else I've got here. Another thing, when it was getting dark at 4 o'clock, we got it about shut down about 3 o'clock, 3:30, because on Commerce, we have it fenced off for safety. It's a big hole over in the middle of the road. We've got kids walk by there every day, get on a school bus, they get home off a school bus every evening, so we gotta protect everybody that lives there, protect the kids that walks beside it. So it does take time to safeten the hole up to where we can go home at night. As the days get longer, there's more time we can work out there. And that's what we're looking for, to try to shoot for. I don't want to work on Saturdays or Sundays unless we got to. The people that live there are really the ones that's inconvenienced the most. I like for them to have a little peace and quiet during the weekend, unless it just comes to be where we've got to do some weekend work. That's just my thinking. As we go up the road, we are working with the property owners to try to get them in and out of their driveway, and so far it's working pretty good. But as we go on up the street, the ones that parks in the driveway is not really a big problem. We can try to work them in and out. But there's a couple houses they park in the road, and they've got like 3 or 4 cars. So that's something that's going to have to really take on. Every house is unique on what we're going to have to do to try to get them in and out of there. And my whole goal is to try to get their car parked as close to their house as we can without them being in such an inconvenience. But sometimes we all know when you're out there in the road that deep, you really run out of room pretty quick. But we're going to always reach out to the property owners prior to getting in front of their houses and yards and see if there's any concerns. A lot of people didn't know what we were doing, but we do put door knockers out for every house to let them know, hey, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out. But that's been a while ago. Sometimes you forget that you got a door knocker, and of course Bob keeps a lot stirred up over there for us. And he gives us a head up too, to where, somebody up the street he may be looking at, don't know what's going on. But we are going to be there a while. That's going to be very slow going up Commerce Road. And the more we come off that hill, the shallower it gets. But the manhole I'm shooting to get to at the top of the hill is about 13 foot deep. Once that side's completed, then we'll go back down to Elm Street and come back up that side of the hill. So you got 2 places on Commerce that's going to be a big inconvenience until we're completely done and out of there. Now, if we have any complaints, we try to see to that, try to work with the property owners as we go. But the houses on the east side, we were going to tie on anyway to the new sewer. The houses on the west side, we're not tying each house on there, but we are dropping a clean out assembly for the future in case they do have a problem, because a lot of people share the same sewer line. They're all 3 tied to the same one, but all we're doing now is just giving them access in case they have to in the future tie on, and have to dig the road back up. Nobody wants to have to go back and dig that road up that deep. I don't even want to. But if I got any questions from anybody, I'd be more than happy to answer it.
You bet. Just a rough estimate of when the entire project might be done?
Well, we have about a year and change.
You did, I think you had close to.
And it's going to probably take every bit of that. And if it may just be on Commerce and the Hall property, I've got a machine ready to come into, but this is the first week of good weather we had. The creek's still sitting in 3 foot of water, 2 foot of water. It'll eventually go down, but I have another machine ready to come in and start on the Hall property. But you got to think, and what a lot of people don't realize is in Commerce Road, when we got out there and started working, that's when we found the water line in the middle of the road. Well, we had to shut down until the plans got approved by the state. And
Yeah, I ain't fussing.
yeah, but no, people don't realize that.
Yeah, but I just get asked
Yeah.
from time to time, and of course, I've talked about it. Once y'all get done and we're closed out that project, we're gonna look at paving some streets.
Yes, sir.
So, and they're anxious for us to get started on that. And
Well,
I am too, but
I'm ready for some pretty weather.
yeah.
I don't want to have to go south to get it. I like to come on up here toward you guys versus in Florida to get it.
Well, the gate's always open here, son.
And we're just a phone call away. My guys are really doing good out there. It's just really slow going, but I mean, they've probably got 100 feet of that deep stuff in already. And the more we go, it's going to shallow up a little bit more. And to me, shallowing up to 12 foot deep is a heck of a lot better than 18 foot deep. I could almost hear Chinese people down there talking. I'm so close to them. But any more questions for me? I'd be more than happy to answer.
Yes, the sewage line that's in the creek, will that be taken out or will it be?
It'll be abandoned in place, manholes will be abandoned in place and done away with. I mean, the lids will be tore
So all
off.
that'll be left in the creek?
It'll be empty pipe, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
But the manholes will be done away with. But just because you don't get a lot of rain here, you might get a lot of rain in other areas that it all drains to here. I know how much rain you got because y'all's creek runs right through our farm in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty crazy, and all we can do is come there and give our best effort, try to give you, all we can get during a week to try and make something accomplishable. I mean, it's not really business sense to be trying, but we gotta try something. My guys are ready to work, and they gotta get a check too.
Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, every time I send Brian a message on the council meeting day, he sends me information, and today he said, I'm gonna come up there. I said, that's even better.
I appreciate
But
it.
one more thing, go Big Orange.
That's right.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. You know what timeline I'm working under here? 8 o'clock back. I checked with Steve Jones today on our water projects. Not much happening on that way on some state approval. We're gonna do some work to the water tank up here and also install some new, what's the word I'm looking for? Meters, monitors, that type of thing. Not for the individual houses, but for what we do, pumping it from the ground to the water plant and up the hill. I didn't do a very good job. If y'all understood everything I said there, you understood it a lot better than I did. One little bit of news that concerns me a little bit, and that is we were set to have a meeting last Thursday with the folks in Washington about our turntable project to start jumping through all the hoops. And we had a pre-meeting on Tuesday. And then between Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11 o'clock, we found out that our project manager, the guy that came here, is no longer with the Federal Railroad Administration. Now, we've been told somebody new will be appointed to it and our meeting will be rescheduled. But we all hear what's going on in Washington, and so that concerns me a little bit. Now, why in the grand scheme of things, our $1.6 million would be a major lick for them to take it back, I don't understand, and nobody said that. But I sure would have felt better if we'd had that meeting Thursday. I'll be glad when it gets rescheduled. So our engineers and all the people, Steve Smart, everybody, we're ready to go. April was on the meeting with me Tuesday with the engineers, and we thought we were going to go 11 o'clock Thursday, but it's been rescheduled. So when, I can't tell you. I already mentioned street paving. Of course, we can't do anything until we can get in there and do a good job, and then we'll have to see how much we can do. Giving you a budget report, we're still expenses exceeding revenues. Hopefully they'll get turned around. I spent quite a bit of time today looking at it, and I'm not sure some of the figures in there are being accurately recorded. I hope between now and when we meet on the 18th of March to have that structured in such a way that it matches up with the budget we adopted, so that you can compare apples and apples. We are not prepared tonight to discuss development regulations or building permit fees. After the Chris Lawless and Chris Richardson were here last time, Vice Mayor Casey and I met with some folks, Mayor Hutto and Chris and Finance Director Aaron Maynard. We're still discussing these. Hopefully we'll have something to present to you in March. Christopher Lawless was going to be here tonight, but told him it really wasn't any need for him to, since we weren't going to do anything. You have a copy of the fiscal year audit there in front of you. It was just finished from last year, 23-24. It's a good audit, in my opinion. There are always two findings. One we can deal with, one we can't. The first finding is our internal controls. We have two people that handle money here, and then we have Buddy Dykes, his accounting firm in Sparta, do our bookkeeping. So we basically have three people working on it. The auditor says we should have more. It's not financially feasible for us to do that, and they know that, but they have to put the finding in there. And so what they tell us is to segregate duties as best we can. Now, frankly, and this is a busy week, the last week to pay taxes. And if somebody comes in to pay their taxes, and April is taking their taxes, and somebody else is there wanting to pay their taxes, Lisa's got to get up and do that, or vice versa, and we can't just say, well, only one person can collect money. Same way with water bills. So, you know, they'd like for us to have 5 or 6 people working in there. There's no need for it, and no financial need for it. So that's a finding that we can't fix. It's there every year if you'll go back and look at all our audits. The one we're gonna fix is, as I told you last month, our general fund, we overspent by $30,000 last year. Now, we got an $874,000 fund balance, so don't anybody leave here thinking we're gonna close up shop tomorrow, but we can't do that anymore. I mean, I don't want that audit finding anymore. So, we may have to take some steps. Friday will be 2/3 of the way through the fiscal year. We'll have 8 months behind us and 4 months to go. So I'm gonna have to look at that, and we may have to scale some things back to stay in line. I hope that's not true, but if it does, I'll take the heat on that. But at any rate, I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that next year when we look at the audit, they're not issuing that finding. So, y'all got any questions about that? I ramble a lot, I know I do.
On the money part, the people handling that, we had discussed having a committee, a budgeting committee. Would that help if we say we have now
Helps me.
6 people? I know that, but would it help in that if we said we have 5 people looking at the budget? Are they talking about just people that
No,
handle money?
they're talking about people that handle money.
Okay,
Yeah, and of course, the people that work for us to handle money
yeah,
have to be bonded. And if you come in here tomorrow, I said about 2 people lined up, and the 2 ladies will handle it, but if a third person's there, I'm not gonna I don't touch money.
right.
And never going to if I can help it. So, my point would be, we'd have to have more people handling money.
Okay,
They're
so that
preparing the
committee
budget.
wouldn't help there.
No, but it'll help, but not,
Right, not this issue.
yeah.
And then my other one was, what were you just talking about? What was your second thing? Oh, the money thing?
Yeah,
Does that go back to our water funding
no, our
issue?
water funding was in the black. This is general fund. Yep.
Okay.
Our water funding is in the black, our parks and recreation is in the black. And honestly, on June 30th of last year, I thought the general fund was in the black, but when the auditor got in there, it was not. So,
Wonderful.
we'll
That's
fix
it.
it.
I'm
I hope. I hope I'm not sitting here next year saying the same thing to you. Don't intend to be. Staying on the audit, the gentleman that does our audit is John Poole from, Hendersonville, started to say Goodisville. He's done our audit just several years for us after Buddy Dykes and his firm took over the bookkeeping. He said he could not do bookkeeping and auditing. In other words, he couldn't audit his own bookkeeping. So, Mr. Poole has given us a fixed contract fee of $5,900. April, is that not the same thing we paid him this year?
Yeah.
So it's not an increase, so we have to approve that and send it into the state, and I'll recommend that to you.
I'll make a motion, we approve that renewal
Audit contract.
of the audit contract.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second to approve that. Any questions, discussion? Okay, none? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oh. All right, we'll sign that and get it to them electronically. I don't have any elections or appointments to make tonight. I know I keep telling you that. Trust me, I'll get to it. I do want to run something by you that we don't have a policy on, and I did something last Wednesday on my own, and I hope you'll back it up. But all the governments in Wilson County closed on Wednesday because of inclement weather. And I felt like we should close City Hall here so our ladies didn't have to get out in the ice and snow to come to work. Now, so that was the easy part. The hard part was Bob Morgan and my man Cody and the other people and the police officer was scheduled had to come to work because we need them here in case there's a water problem, sewer problem. And trust me, it happens a lot of times in ice and cold. And police officers need to be here because of the possibility of wrecks and that type of thing. So the ladies got paid for that day. I mean, they shouldn't have to take their vacation or sick because they weren't sick. But these guys working what I committed to them, and I hope you'll back me up on this, the police officers that worked the shift during that, on that Wednesday, not all of them, but those that worked, and the 4 guys that worked for us on the streets and the sewer, I told them that I would give them 1 paid day off to be used by April the 30th, subject to Bob saying he's got enough people here to handle it. You know, 3 of them can't be off the same day is what I'm saying. But I think that's fair. They had to work, that would give them a paid day off. April and Lisa got a paid day off, so I hope that y'all will approve that. That's a one-time thing, by the way.
And just for future references, when Lebanon closes, I know a few years ago, we kind of went into this too. I think when Lebanon closes, we need to just, yes, it's closed, it's approved, it's not something you should have to come and ask us for.
Well,
And I appreciate that, but it's kind of just understand that if the county, if Mayor Hutto closes as a county, to me, that would include all 3 county jurisdictions.
usually that happens. There's a lot of communication that goes on, and somebody has to be the first one to go. And surprisingly, Rick Bell did this time, and then Kenny Martin came right in behind him. And I thought, all right, guys, y'all ain't leaving me out here.
Can we make some sort of rule set to go by what Wilson County's aspect is using?
Let's hold off on that, because sometimes we have worse situations up here than we
That's
do
true.
at Mount Jude or Wilson
Oh,
County.
you can tell
and-
Facebook by
and
that.
vice versa.
From the
Yeah,
closing.
yeah, the Facebook people did it.
The people in Mount Juliet think we should go to school if they're going to school or
Yeah.
if their roads are clear, so yeah.
I understand.
You need a motion on that?
I do, and we'll watch that in the future. I don't think it'll happen often, but,
I make a motion that we approve the payday.
okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? You down there all by yourself. All in favor, say aye. I think you are. I'm gonna skip down to something because it's pretty much related. We had an employee that no longer works with us, and we were down to 3, and we have 4 positions. So this young man back here filled our 3rd position, Cody. We've already hired you, and have we already voted on you? Okay. And so the 4th position I filled with his dad. His dad's been working now, what, a week and a half? And good worker. Cody's a good worker. And his dad's a good worker. He poured concrete for years and years. And he told me when we talked about hiring him, he said, I don't care what I have to do as long as I don't have to pour concrete. And so,
So we don't have somebody to do sidewalks now?
well, not yet. He doesn't know yet. I just got him in. But anyway, I'd like a motion and a second to approve my hiring of Jeffrey Bly, and y'all will know him as Bubba. I have to ask his first name. So.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Second motion.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. You opposed? All right. Tell your daddy's legal. But he's still on probation for 90 days. You still on probation too, right?
2 months ago. I've been there 7 months now.
Time flies, son.
It does.
You'll recognize that one of these days.
Oh, yes.
We talked last time about the need to hire somebody to do a water and sewer rate study for us with the cost of operations, the depreciation, and the very large debt service that we took on. Y'all authorized me to talk to Bob Adams, a CPA out of Mount Juliet, and I met with him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, employed him, told him he's going to charge us by the hour, but I told him that I had a limit on where I could go because y'all gave me a limit, and he thinks that he will have a recommendation ready to go at our April meeting, which means we'll have to vote on it in April and May for it to become the new water rates. Now, April's had some calls the last day or two about water bills being high. They're gonna be higher. That's all I know to say. We've got a debt payment of $353,000 a year. That, of course, was not in our budget, so it's gonna go up. As I tell people, I hope I get to die in this town, but just not over the water rate increase. So, but that's coming, and I have no idea what it's gonna be, but April provided him a lot of information, I provided him a lot of information, and I've asked Buddy Dykes' office to give the figures for depreciation. So, that's coming. So that's all I'm gonna say tonight. There'll be plenty of time for the weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. One more thing, and then I'll get to something Steve wants to bring to us, and that is you have something there. We had our water heater over here at the Public Safety Building go out during the first cold spell of this month. It actually went out on Friday night, didn't it, Bob, or Friday afternoon? Yep. And it was Monday before we could get it fixed. Steve Moore, Randy Lamberson helped us and arranged Steve Moore Plumbing to come in and do the job. They put 2 tankless water heaters in there now. And of course you see all the work that went with it. This is the estimate. The bill has not been given to us yet. We anticipate getting that first of the month. So, but the estimate here was $12,889. This is work that had to be done in a pretty much a hurry. I will tell you that I approached the county and asked them to pay half, and the gentleman that is the public buildings director there said, well, Mayor, I think you got 3 people up there and we've got 1 of them, so I'll pay a third. And I really couldn't argue with that. So I said, yeah, we'll take a third. So we'll get somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,500 from them to offset this. So we'll have probably $9,000 or a little more in it. So, I guess I don't like to do this, but if he got to work on this quickly. And if he gets a bill in here on the 1st and we don't meet again till the 18th, I'd like for us to go ahead and approve paying that bill. So he doesn't have to wait.
I make a motion to pay the Steve Newell not to exceed $10,000.
That's a good motion. Is there a second to that?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, everybody understand what we're doing? All right. Discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One quick question. What building again was that?
Over here, public safety building.
Okay, okay.
Commonly called the fire hall or the
Well,
police
I
department.
thought that's what you had said,
Yeah.
but I got a bad ear, so.
And that, water heater was upstairs?
Upstairs at 200 gallons.
Did y'all get it out of there, or is it still up there?
I did, they got it out. I don't know where it is, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
200 gallon, that explains.
Bob was telling me how heavy it was gonna
I
be.
don't want to bring it down.
Okay. already talked about the sign-ups. Our next meeting will be the 18th, and I'll do my best to make that happen. And so the only thing left on the agenda is, and Steve, I didn't do this on purpose, but I was just on a roll. So you want to talk about the park expansion?
Well, and I've got extra copies here if anybody wants to pick one up. Jeff Tunks and I have had conversations on this going on for a while, and I had the opportunity to get some services from Jeff Luttrell and the engineer that the school system uses. And what we've got is this is strictly a long-term dream of what we would like to potentially have behind the backside of the creek. And I'm thinking you're looking at a minimum 5 years, probably more like an 8 to 10 year plan before we might be able to implement this. But this drawing was done, like I said, by an engineer with the school system. It didn't cost us anything. It was a freebie that got offered to me by Mr. Luttrell, so I took him up on it. And it shows in scale what you could potentially do back there, which would include a high school sized baseball field, a high school sized softball field, and at least one, if not two more smaller baseball fields. A football/soccer regulation size field, 2 basketball courts and 2 pickleball courts, and a playground and parking. Jeff Tunks and I have been in some conversations before with people at the state level. There is some state programs out there that you can get an 80%, and I believe it's a reimbursement on. But as part of that program, if it's new parkland, new expansion that's, not refurbishing an existing park, but if you're building a new park, they allow you to use the value of the land toward that 20% match that you have to put up, which with 20 acres back there, so basically at some point, potentially we could get this done with very little to no cost out of pocket. And like I said, this is just a conceptual drawing of what we potentially could do back there. And if we pursue it, Jeff, I think we have to have 2 public hearings. Correct. To get feedback from the public on their input before we could actually make a formal request with the state under the program they currently have. So it's just, like I said, I think that would be, we've had that land, I don't know how long the city's had that land.
We've had it about 20 years.
And I think this is what the intended use of that land was when it was originally purchased, was to eventually expand the park. So this just gives a concept of potentially what we can do back there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, we've got a walking trail down here, and it's, what, 3/4 of a mile about it? I'm wondering if if we do this, we can combine this walking trail with that one around this park and make it like a mile and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see why it couldn't.
It would be much better.
Yeah, actually, the engineer did include a trail around about 2/3 of this. He didn't go out beyond the big baseball field, but I mean, he did include expanding the trail on that side of the
I'd
creek.
like to see it go all the way around it.
So-
Maybe make it a mile and a half or
But
whatever.
like I said, this is definitely a long-term future project, kind of like the land use planning that you have with the county. You're looking out 5, 10 years or
Yeah.
further.
And I was listening to you, Steve, and I was trying to find my notes. But I think when we did the ARP money in this budget, we kept $75,000 out for parks, that if we needed it to use as a grant match, we would have it. So I was just, is that the way y'all remember?
We kept some,
Okay.
I don't remember them.
I think it was 75. I think we put 75 in police, 75 in fire, 75 in streets, and 75 in the parks.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we did.
And then we did some bonuses, and we got some more left, so.
And one more comment, with this drawing still shows the helipad back there. The helipad would have to be relocated, and Chief Hinderlight and Chief Hahn both are in agreement with me. The little 2-acre lot we have over in the industrial park that we can't sell because the dry creek bed runs through it, would be a better location long-term for the helipad anyway. That way they don't have to close down Old Statesville Road in time of emergency, and if you have an emergency while anything's going on at the park, you're not attracting all the attention with the helicopter coming in right there about the park.
Yeah, I'm, gotta give that a little thought myself, because that was an Eagle Scout project that a young man did. So, but anyway, a lot of things, I agree, it's a long-term plan, it ought to be done. I'd like to see it done, something done. I kind of share Hal's thoughts, I'd like to see that park extended, the walking trail, excuse me, and even a little nature area if we could fit it in there. But anyway, there'll be a lot more discussion on it. It's good work. And thank you for starting the ball rolling. Any questions, comments?
What's the next step to continue the ball rolling?
Next step, we would probably have to follow up on more of the details of what we would have to have for a proposal for the state at some point.
The council has to make a motion
To move this
to advance that drawing and to start.
Yeah.
So we're not approving, like, yes, we're doing it, we would need an approval for you guys to get more information.
Yes, to pursue it further. That this is the step that we want to do.
But if we're advancing this plan, we're committing to it.
Again, that plan right there is still just a rough draft.
I'm not ready to commit to it at this point in time.
Yeah.
Now, I am ready to do something.
Right.
And we still have a lot of work to do from the state perspective of getting all of our ducks in a row. They have several requirements, and there's some.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, what's the next step?
You've
Okay.
got to have, and I would have to go through their checklist.
Okay.
Eventually, there would have to be an environmental impact. You have to do that with anything you do, anytime you're moving dirt. So, I mean, it's, like I said, this is very long-term, but what I liked about this, I had the chance to get a drawing from an engineer to scale to see what we potentially could do back there.
Yes.
So I took advantage of that offer for Mr. Luttrell.
Yes.
And I was wondering if we really need 5 fields. That's gonna give us 5 fields that's gotta be lit and taken care of. That's a big,
That could bring in some good money though for, 9 months out of the year for softball and baseball.
no, you're not gonna have it though. I know when we built those 2 fields down there, we thought we'd have softball, so big softball, rest of our lives and playing it. Mike was playing, and
It goes back a long ways, Hal.
And it finally just went away, didn't it?
It did. Well, we closed, our youth leagues were so successful.
Yeah.
We were playing softball on Friday night, had church teams, and you know how that is. Pretty competitive. And then our numbers got so big that we had to shut it down so we could play on Friday night.
But so big softball just about went away.
It did. It did. And
So
one time here, we had baseball rolling pretty good, but the kids seemed to want to do this more than they want to hit a baseball. Yeah, I think I think what this needs we need to pursue, looking at this. You said the economic impact. I probably told this story and y'all probably tired of hearing it, but I had the idea about 10 years ago when I was a kid. I came over here and fished in this creek. Mama said I couldn't cross the highway, but I did. And I came over here and the hole of water over here was about waist deep, and I caught a few little old fish out of there. And then they widened this, we had the flood and the creek got widened out, and now the water back there is about knee deep when it's rolling good. And nobody fishes over there, and I came up with the idea, let's build a pond over there where kids can come and fish. And you know, we'll open it up 2 or 3 afternoons a week and let them fish. So I called the folks at the Greater Nashville Regional Council to come help me. And they started talking about environmental impact studies and what that was gonna cost and something else and something else. And I said, folks, what if we just bring a bulldozer in here one afternoon and dig a hole and fill it up with water? And we go and buy some of these fish down at the co-op and put them in there and let them grow for a year. Oh, you can't do that, sir. Yeah, well, I can, I just don't know if I'm willing to take the risk or not. And I wasn't, but that's always been a thought of mine. And y'all didn't ask for that, I won't charge you nothing for that. Anything else, Steve?
No, that was
It's
it.
good work. Anything else, Jeff?
Thank you.
Okay. John, we got anybody wants to talk?
No comments, sir.
Okay.
14 views though.
Well, that's good. That might be a record. All right, let's go around the table. Hal, start on your end tonight.
I know he was talking about the parking in, on the square, and I can understand, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, parks on the square and works out of town. It's always happened, and I'm sure it still does. Is there any way we could get some way, maybe work out something with the people that own that factory over there, the old church factory? That parking lot behind that is just a complete waste. They've got, it's not being used for nothing, and that would make a real good parking place for the, like, the business owners could park there. And leave the square open for the, people coming in. I don't know who owns the factory anymore. But if we could work something out with them.
You talking about over, across from the milk, the old
Yeah.
milk factory?
Right there, the old syrup factory, the back
Yeah.
side next to the back
That
street,
would be a good parking lot.
it's not used for nothing. I mean, they've got a bunch of stuff on it, but it needs to be cleaned up.
You know,
And the
maybe,
city should make them clean it up, it's a mess.
maybe that's something we could talk about in this meeting, but that might be a possibility of, I'll just throw this out there, maybe renting it.
Yes.
Maybe the city and the chamber go in partnership with that. And then say if you're gonna park long-term, either park your car or stay more than, say, an hour, you gotta park back here, and then we'll have to find a way to enforce it, just a thought.
Yeah.
But that's
When
some of
the
the
factory
things
was running, it was probably 100 cars parked back there.
there was. And then you had the other one down on the creek bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty good idea. I don't know who owns that now.
I don't even, but it's something we need to
Yeah,
think about.
okay. Okay, anything else?
And nothing.
Steve?
Yeah, I don't have anything. No, I've already had my 2 cents.
Ms. Laura?
I have a few things.
Oh, sure.
You updated on the turntable. So we were looking at getting together with the museum committee and then you guys, like the founding committee. Can you kind of get me a name of those people that was on that original committee, like you and John Jewell, and who were those local people?
That
or not
started
even
to talk
local,
right
that
here?
Started it, yes, sir. And
I can. I hope I don't leave anybody out. John, myself, Becky Taylor, Bill Schultz, Tony Lee. I've forgotten somebody. And then we brought Steve Smart into it.
Okay,
Yeah. And then from time to time, interested people would come by. It was really very informal. And we might have 10 or 11 here, and the next time we might have 4. So it was pretty informal. Steve, you may have come a time or two.
I've come to one.
You kind of touched on this, but with the new government that we have and halting some of the federal funding, you've not heard anything on how you think or speculations about, okay,
I have not heard it.
okay.
You know, everything I hear is on TV, just like y'all hear, which is probably worthless. But the fact that meeting got, because the guy that came in here was looking forward to heading up this project. So I don't know if he was purged or whether he said, I'm out of here, I'll go to the private sector. I don't know the answer to that.
I was approached that years and years ago, the industrial park was supposed to have lights put on it. That was the deal made back when that sign was.
What put on?
Oh, the sign for the industrial park, sorry.
Okay.
And there's never been lights put on.
When you say
They're
it, what
supposed
you
to
talking
have,
about it?
like,
The industrial park sign was supposed to be
industrial
lit.
park
Purple sign that's out there?
was supposed to be like, that was the original plan. Now, I don't know, I'm just a messenger.
I've never heard that plan because that sign was paid for by Four Lakes, whatever that, the four counties. And they had some money that they gave us and they put that sign on there. So if they committed to put the lights on there, but I'm not aware of any city commitment to put lights.
No, it wasn't a city commitment. It was whoever, like the sign, when they proposed it to us and wanted to put it up,
Okay,
it was supposed to have lights on it.
okay, I'll take that up, or you can with Mayor Hutto. Might
I'll
be
email.
more coming from you than
I'll
it does
email
me,
Mayor.
because he gets to hear me every day. And I'm
And you
always
said it
getting
was
something.
Four Lakes?
Four Lakes Regional Authority, I think it now has a different name, but it's Wilson, Trousdale, Smith, and Macon, I believe. And it's one of these, well, I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
Mayor Hutto's been the chair of it at times, and I think it rotates between the four counties.
Okay. I'll email Ms. Mayor. And the last thing is, you know how sometimes you're driving down the interstate and you see these billboards that says, hey, come to Macon County has this, or Red Bull in Springs has the mansion. Have we ever looked at putting something like that for Watertown? Like,
We used to have
let's-
one.
So what can
Chamber
we
had
do
one
to
years
get-
ago.
So could we maybe partner with the chamber and
That's
let's
something.
see about getting something like that back up? With the railroad coming, we've got some wonderful new businesses in town,
We do.
and we need to be advertising ourselves more.
I'd be willing for myself, to take a look at that. But before, we did not have anything to do with it. We being the city, the Chamber of Commerce did that. And I'll tell you who I think can probably tell you more about that.
Mike,
Who?
you stopped it.
Well, do I want to
You-
hear
No,
this?
I'm just kidding. You? Why?
It was, we had a grant from the county of $6,000 or $6,500. And that sign was $5,000 a year for us to run it. And I did the math. Our shops at that time weren't nowhere near the capacity they are now, but there were no consistent hours. And so the inconsistency in the fact that there were very few shops on the square, even operational at that time, it did make dollar wise to do it. So that was the logic. We'll suggest this, and might talk with the tourism department, might be one to help kick in some money to do something along those lines. They may have money for you to help along those lines.
They need to do something up here. And, you know, they used to do something with the jazz festival and with the yard sale, but everything's kind of gravitated toward the racetrack. And, they need to do something up here. That's a possibility. Wasn't that located between the 238 exit and 239 on the right-hand side? It had a good location. Had a very good location.
And that makes sense. Why you would, I mean, if it's not monetary beneficial, I get that, but we've got five or six shops that have consistent hours and pretty much the same hours, maybe 8 shops now. That's an 8 to 5.
I swear, so I did
Yeah.
myself in, but it was, I'd asked for some of the shops to kick in to offset some of the costs so we could do some other things. So
Yeah, I get that. And we've got this new restaurant coming that, I cannot wait.
I have reason to believe that some things are gonna pop here in the next few months that need to happen here. Now, don't, you know, people have been telling me for 20 years, Mayor, you know, we're getting a McDonald's. No, I don't know
No,
that.
we're not.
And I don't know that tonight. But I had a woman swear to me, said, that they're coming. I hadn't seen them yet. I don't have anything like that, but I think there'll be some local entrepreneurs capitalize on some things that we do very well in this little community. So hopefully that'll happen. You wanna mention that to, what's his first name of tourism? I know his last name's Johnson. I can't think of it, but he's the tourism director.
For the Wilson County,
Yes, but all of us. are supposed to be.
Jason,
Jason, that's it.
I will be happy
Yeah, I've
to
been-
email him
I've been
too.
in contact with him and Melanie, and we reached out to some state people for the museum things,
Okay,
and trying to encompass all of that, so there'll be more coming.
good. I'd like to see him spend some money up here.
Yeah, they're super excited about it, wanting to talk about Watertown. I think they need some direction from us.
Okay. Okay?
I'm good. Thank
Pretty
you.
good. You did good in that.
You're welcome.
You're on a billboard, it's outside the interstate?
Yes, sir.
Holler at me if you figure out you're going up there. I may have an avenue for
Okay.
someone
Good deal with that. I will.
that.
Is there anybody you don't know?
I know, right?
That's unfortunate life. The fire truck Suburban,
Mm-hmm.
instead of selling it for 1,500, is there some way water department anybody can make use of it as a? I don't, it doesn't matter. I thought.
I don't know. Dale's not here. Bob, we got it, that Suburban they want to get rid of. We got anything we can do with it?
Well,
I mean, it should be, not just set
I
it
thought
down.
we'd use it for a city truck if ours ever laid down, but they won't sell it.
But
Ours
for
get a lot of
15?
miles on it.
Will it work for a city, as a city truck, for what you need?
Well, yeah, that little Escape I drive won't pull the jetter, so, we'd make it work.
Is it 4-wheel drive?
Just 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
So if they were and I wish Steve was still here. So if they were thinking about selling that for $1,500 on Gov Deals, why couldn't we just transfer $1,500 in the general fund into the fire department? And we take
I was kind of thinking the truck he has, it may sell that and then give
Yeah.
him the extra benefit that what it doesn't bring. If it
Why
works
why
that
don't,
way.
why don't we talk to Blake and Steve, and if that's something y'all are seriously interested, don't feel like you gotta do it just for the heck of it. If that'll work,
It works.
we could transfer $1,500 into their budget and then
And that-
sell what we got.
And you wouldn't,
I like that.
you wouldn't have Gov Deals take a cut out of that
That's
1,500.
right. They'd get,
And
they'd
we
get
have the
it.
vehicle, so it's been
Yeah,
fairly well
that's a
taken
good
care
idea.
of, so.
That's a good idea. All right, we'll try to pursue that.
It'll work.
That will. All right. I'm glad you're here tonight, you and Cody.
That's all I got.
That it? Besides, all by yourself down there, and I come to you last. But you'll be first next time. Anybody on there that wants to talk?
No comments,
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to see everybody, and I appreciate you being here, and if y'all are ready to go, I certainly am. Somebody wants to make a
Motion to
motion.
adjourn.
There it
Second.
is. We're out of here.